Good afternoon, everybody. This is Joyce from BoQ Creations. I hope everybody's having a great day today. I am going to talk to you guys today a little bit about Pearlex. If you haven't seen that before, you are in for a treat. But I'm also going to give you some tips and tricks. I'm just going to give everybody a second to log in here because today's going to be more of a technique day. I just wanted to make sure that I cover my bases today with this product because let me make sure that I have us live so I can see your comments. Let's see. I cannot see my comments yet, guys. Hold on just a second. I see Miss Annie. Hello. Okay. Well, hi Terry. Hi Ann. I'm not seeing my comments coming up on my computer, but I'll do my best to, let me see if I can log in here. Sorry for the computer difficulties. I just got a new computer. There we go. Okay, so maybe I can, okay. All right, there we go. Now I can see you guys. Okay, so today I'm going to talk to you about a product that you may or may not have seen before. It's called Pearlex, Pearlex. Hi, Verna. You set your alarm so you wouldn't forget. Sherry, you finally made it. Yay! I'm so glad to see everybody today. So Pearlex is the same thing as Perfect Pearls. So if you've seen Perfect Pearls before, then you have probably used this product. But it's also, surprisingly, the same thing as Cosmic Shimmer Shakers. And here, are you guys ready for this? Hi, Christian. You guys ready for this? It's also the same stuff that's in your eye makeup. I bet you didn't know that. I bet you that you didn't know that you could use Dollar Tree, dollar store makeup as your shimmer powders. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that today. Hi, Susan. How are you? So I'm just going to show you guys some of the ways that I use Perfect Pearls and some of the different ways that you can use this pearlized powder as well. This is actually a mica powder. And so if you've ever heard of mica, then that's what this is. So the Pearlex I like because it comes in so many different colors. You can get a pack of these pretty reasonable, about 24, 25 bucks for, I don't know, maybe 12 of them, 13 of them. And the Perfect Pearls come in sets. I don't have all of them up there. Let me get them all out for you guys so you can see all the beautiful colors. So they come in sets of 4. Like I think these 4 came together like this, and they come with a little spot of the ink, the Clearmark ink, and then they also come with a soft brush. So they come in 4 colors. You can pick these up at Michael's, at most any place that you can find craft stuff. They'll probably have the Perfect Pearls. The Pearlex is a little harder to find, but again, I wanted to tell you guys that it is actually the same stuff as what you find in the eyeshadow. So go and find a really pretty eyeshadow that you don't wear anymore and use it. Because at BoQ this year, we're all about using stuff that's already in your stash so that you do not have to buy new stuff. So, oh, and I forgot to tell you also that not only is Perfect Pearls the same thing as the Cosmic Shimmer Shakers, it's also the same thing as Pearlex, but guess what else? It's also the same thing as your Tonic shimmer powders that you probably all have. Years ago, Pearlex was more expensive. Yeah, it's only $24.99 now, roughly at Michael's, so I know if you use your 40% off coupon, you can get it pretty cheap. But this stuff we probably already have in our stash, and I certainly know that a lot of you ladies have eyeshadow. So we're going to go over this today, and I'm going to show you a few things that I use. Now you'll see me, most importantly, what you're going to need for any project that you're going to be using is a clear ink. Now it doesn't matter whether you use Versamark or whether you use Nouveau or whether you use the Distress, but I bet you didn't know that you could also use Distress Oxide or any kind of wet ink. So I'm going to show you guys today that you can use what you have in your stash to make beautiful backgrounds like this. I just love this one. This one's done with a stencil. So I'm going to go over how to do all these. I'll show you. I started this one because I wanted to show you guys what it looked like. We're going to do something really fun with this. This is just a white version. I hope that the camera is doing this justice because there's pearl, but you can also see the green in there. I really hope that you guys can catch this beautiful sparkle on here. So, and then I'm going to show you like one of the Christmas cards that I did with craft paper. And that looks like foil. So sometimes you can get that look of foil without even having to use that. So this is just the Pearlex. And I went ahead and embossed this because I want to show you what it looks like if you use an embossing folder. So without further ado, what I'm going to have is over here on the side, I'm just going to have a stack of little cardstock pieces so that we can just play for a few minutes. So let me put that aside, put this aside. So again, one of the things that I like to do with my, oh, hi Sandy. Sandy came in. How are you doing, Sandy? One of the things that I always tell people is that you have to have some sort of clear embossing ink, something sticky for the powder to stick to. So it really does not matter if you use Versamark or Nuvo, or for that fact, you can also use kitchen grade glycerin because that's all the sticky stuff is inside of these pads is food safe glycerin. Excuse me. So if you don't have any, you know, Versamark or anything like that, traipse on down to your local bakery store or someplace that sells bakery goods and get you a bottle of food safe glycerin, and you will have the same product, only not in an ink pad, but I'm going to show you how to get around that too. So I'm going to start with how to use clear ink. So I cut out this bucket in black. I find that the black paper gives my Pearlex the prettier shimmer, but it's really beautiful on white as well. So this Nuvo clear mark pen is really cool. I like it because it already has the sticky stuff inside of it, the clear ink inside of it, and that nib is so easy to work with. So I'm just going to take this bucket from Susan's Gardens and I'm going to color this rim. So all I'm doing is just taking this marker that allows me to put Versamark or the clear sticky ink anywhere I want specifically and not in places that I don't. And I'm going to do the handles just like this. Hi Tilda, how are you doing today? You guys, I have to tell you, in Florida this week, we had 85-degree weather, and then it was down to 40, literally. It dropped all of those degrees in one day. So we went to bed with the air conditioner on and got up the next morning with the heater on. So it was really difficult for us, and I can't even imagine how you guys are doing. I know Susan said that they got snow up in North Carolina, so I thought that was kind of harsh. Because we're neighbors. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my Pearlex, and this one happens to be antique silver. Now what's really important when you're putting Pearlex on is so it is necessary to set the powder with something to keep it from rubbing off over time. Yes, I was gonna get to that, Belinda. Thank you so much for bringing that up, because I'm gonna show you in just a second how to keep that from happening. So you're going to want a really soft brush. Hi Diana, how are you? We're going to start with a really, really soft brush, and that's what's important. And I just put my brush in and I tap it off in the cap, and then I pat it down. I don't rub it because I don't want that sticky ink getting all over my brush. You know, I want my brush to be dry and maintain that really nice soft bristles that I want. So then I can come back in here and then just, you know, grab some more powder if I want to. Okay, so this is actually a continuation video from last week, because last week I was showing you how to use some stencils and stuff and how to keep your powders and stuff and your chalks from coming off on your stencil, you know, coming off on your packages and stuff when you mail it. All right, so I always put my Pearlex away because I will be the one to actually tip it over and waste it. But you can see that there's a lot of silver dust over here on my bucket. But don't worry, because that is like one of the things that I love about my brush. This is just a Dollar Tree makeup brush that I got. I love the Dollar Tree, y'all. It's really good for crafting. Gives me the opportunity to spend the money on the stuff that I really want and not the stuff that I need. So I'm just going to take that soft brush and I'm going to brush it off. Now, I have my perfect pearls where I want them on my bucket. So you could absolutely take a sponge dauber and distress the edges with the clear ink, and then get a distress look with your shimmer powders. I put it away, didn't I? Okay, so you could get a distress look by just using your sponge dauber like that, and you could absolutely pick up some of that powder and then distress your edges. See? So you can do anything that you would like. Anywhere you put that powder, it's going to stick. So have fun with that. So that's one way to use your Pearlex. Now what I do is I keep like this makeup brush right here, and I just brush off my station here just to keep my things from contaminating something else. All right, so that's how you use clear ink. Now you can also use the clear ink for stamping. So if I took a stamp, let me grab a piece of paper here. If I grab a stamp of any kind and I grab a piece of paper, this one happens to say "You made my day," and I'm gonna grab my clear ink and just put some ink on my stamp. You can actually take your stamp. That one had some red ink on it, so that's why it still looks like that, because I didn't clean it off. And then this time I'm going to use the Perfect Pearls, and I'm just going to use the pink. So I'm going to repeat the same technique, and now the words on my card or whatever I'm making now have a pink shimmer on them. And of course you could do that with any stamp that you'd like. I did a beautiful background a few minutes ago when I was playing with a oh, what is it called? Let me just show it to you. I can't remember what it's called. Crackle stamp by Stampin' Up. This is what it looks like. It's so beautiful. If you can't achieve crackle, that stamp is the next best thing. So I'm just going to show you that. Let me hold this up to the camera so you guys can see that. Can you see the shimmer on those words? So you could use your clear ink for that. Let me show you real quick so I can put it away what it looks like. This is just it's called Mary Merlot. It's just a color that I grabbed because it matches my Pearlex, and I'm going to take that same stamp that I just used. I'm not going to put clear on it. I'm going to put the ink, and I'm going to stamp it, and then I'm going to take my Pearlex or whatever pearl powder I'm going to use, and I'm just going to take my brush and I'm going to tap it on there. It's important that you tap with this one, because if you don't, you could smear your ink. And so now you have a color underneath your colored pearl powder. I'm just going to call it pearl powder because finished feeding the cats. Yay, I'm so glad. How's Rosie doing, Susan? Hi, Delisi, didn't see you join in. Thank you. So this one we just used the clear embossing powder, but this one we used the a colored ink, and you're able to put your powder on with the color ink. So I thought that was kind of neat. So the question is coming up, what would you use to affix this to keep it from smearing? Well, there's actually two things you can do. You can spritz water. This is just water in a tube. You can spritz it in the air and kind of run your paper through it. I don't spritz it directly, and that will set it. Or you can use just your good old-fashioned generic hairspray. So when we're talking about things that we have in our craft room, good old-fashioned generic hairspray, the cheaper the better, honestly. Okay, so I'm gonna do this background on this black because I just thought this actually came out so beautiful when I did it the first time. So this is a crackle stamp, and I just loaded it in my stamping tool. Let me go ahead and put my paper down. And I'm not going to bore you guys with the whole thing today. I'll just show you a little bit of it. So I'm just taking my Nouveau clear ink now. So it really does not matter which brand you use. They all are made of glycerin, so it's gonna work no matter what. Let me move my magnet. And then I'm just gonna press this down. This gives me such a beautiful background. We're always looking for different things to put our beautiful Susan's Gardens flowers on. And I think this just gives us another background technique to use with our really pretty flowers. So let me bring in a color. Let me see what color we should use. How about a bronze? Oh, I know. How about if we make a two-tone? So this is Pearlex Antique Copper, and then this one is the Pearlex Super Bronze. So I always tap them because inevitably it's going to stick to the top of my jar and then get all over the place. So I tap them before I use them, and then I'm going to bring in just another makeup brush, and I'm going to do that same technique where I tap it into the lid. Okay, and then I'm just going to like lightly dab this brush all over this background. And since I'm getting a two-tone effect, I'm not trying to look exactly where I'm putting it. I'm just kind of, you know, very random. But it's going to go all over anyway. But where you first touch it, that's where it's actually going to stick the most. So let me take my, I call this my swirl brush because this is when I'm swirling it. And then I'm just kind of putting all of that Pearlex all over that stamp. And then anywhere that there is not, there was not Versamark, it will not stick. Let me grab this other brush here. So I'm just using one of our life-changing brushes, and I'm just using it because it's very soft and I can brush off all of that excess. So there we go. Isn't that gorgeous? Imagine if you die cut out of that. You know, that to me just, and you can see the dark streaks in that. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So this is just stamping, and you're using your powders. I mean, that is such a beautiful foil technique that looks like foil. I know, Anne. You're the reason I'm doing this. When you saw the technique in my portfolio and you said we should do that. So you guys can thank Anne for us visiting this today, because I had these in my stash and I never used them, so we're going to use them today. All right, now let me show you, clean this off so we don't get it all over our, I use a piece of paper on my mat because I don't see it a lot when the colors are on my mat, but I can see it on my paper. You have the product to do it with, yay! So I'm going to show you how to achieve that with your tonic powders as well, y'all. When I realized that this would work with the tonic shimmer powders, I was so excited, because I know we all have our tonic shimmer powders because we've already bought those recently when we saw how wonderful they worked. So this is, let me move these out of the way. This is a embossing folder. It's one of those 3D embossing folders. It's from Stampin' Up, and forgive me for not knowing the name. I believe it's Tin Tile. So it's 3D and it has such beautiful like relief on that. I mean, they're very tall. So shoebox cards, here we go. So Annie is talking about, we do a shoebox swap here at my studio, and if you're in the Orlando area, I invite you to come because it's a lot of fun. And you know, just we all get together and we do our thing. And so I'm just very lightly running my ink pad across this embossing folder because I want just a little bit of that Versamark. Be very careful not to push down, because if you do, anywhere that this sticky ink gets, it's going to stick. So I'm just very lightly dragging it and tapping it across the embossed side of this. Okay, now let me show you that your shimmer powders will work as well. Let's see, I think we should use, let me see what color we should use. Maybe the gold. This is the Golden Sparkler. Actually, you know what? Let's use the green since we have 3 colors of those. Okay, so I have 3 colors of green, and we're going to do an ombre effect, I think. So if you just tap your powders on here, I hope you all can see this. You just tap your powders on. And I'm just doing them in 3 layers. I just think that'll look really neat for a 3-tone effect. And this is the Atlantis Burst, the Falling Leaves, and then this one is the Green Parade. Now this will work on white as well, and I'll show you a sample in just a minute, but it just looks so stunning when you've got it on black cardstock. Okay, so I'm gonna brush all the powder out of this makeup brush that I have, and I'm just very gently going to run my tonic. Let me run that across the embossing folder and smear that powder everywhere. So you guys can see that it's already sticking. So I'm just very lightly bringing that across. There we go. And then I'll take my my big old fan brush, and I'm just very gently brushing off the excess. And then there is our Tonic shimmer powders. Hi Denise. So it would have been quicker if I brought it up. I don't know what you're talking about. So so this is the Tonic shimmer powders. So it works just as good as the Pearlex. So if you already have these, use these. And then just brush it off. And then you're ready to go. Now you have a background. So now we've got a stamped background with the shimmer powders. We've got an embossed background with the Tonic shimmer powders. We've stamped with the Pearlex. Now let's use ink, because I told you that we would get to the ink. So this is just Distress Oxide, but it will work with regular ink if you're quick. The only reason I'm using Distress Oxide is because I know that it stays wet a little bit longer. Let me go ahead and get out my copper that I was using. So this is the Pearlex. So I'm just going to take a sponge dauber, and I cut this out of craft. It's Susan's basket that I cut out just from craft paper, and I'm gonna just put the ink on it. And it's really pretty even without the Pearlex powder, just to put the ink on it, I think. But we're gonna bring it up a step, and we're gonna take our Pearlex and we're gonna tap it on there and then rub it in, and look, all of a sudden. And then we're gonna take our brush off the excess, and now we have a basket that's covered with Pearlex. I see some areas, so it's okay. You can go right back in, and the neat thing is that you can layer this, and I'll show you that in a minute. So if it doesn't come out exactly like you want it the first time, just put some more ink over it and keep going. And then if I want to distress the edges after I have put my Pearlex powder on, or if you wanted to do a darker powder, you could certainly do that. So I'm just distressing it, and now I have a nice, beautiful basket to put my flowers in. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay. She said you must use something that has resin. I don't ever use something that has resin. I just used ink, and it'll stay on there, and as long as I spray it with the water, it's gonna stay, or I put hairspray or something else on it. So I don't spray it directly though, I just kind of spritz and then bring it through. So there you go. And that's our basket. Now I'm gonna show you how I did. I've got kind of a mess going on here, so I'm quickly gonna change my piece of paper because I don't want to contaminate any of our other projects. And that's what I like about using the piece of paper. So if it gets wet or it gets too dirty, I can just flip it over and then use the other side. So this one right here, I created using a stencil. So I'm gonna show you how I did that, because the stencil can be a little bit trickier. So I spray the back of my stencil with pixie spray so that my stencil has like a removable adhesive on it. And then I just lay my piece of paper down. I lay my stencil down, and this is just a stencil that I got from, oh gosh, scrapbook.com, I think. And I'm gonna grab my clear mark ink. Again, it can be Versamark, it can be Nouveau ink, it can be pretty much any kind of ink that you'd like. And then I'm not really trying to get a lot of the ink on my paper, because what I'm going to end up doing is taking my little sponge dauber here, and you can see there's a lot of ink on the stencil. I don't want to waste that, so I'm just going to take my sponge dauber and then I'm going to wipe all of that. Whoops, I'm holding it down and it's still moved, so I'll fix it. There we go. I've used this about 4 or 5 times today, so my pixie spray is not sticking anymore. It's not meant to be permanent. And I'm just wiping that ink directly off of the stencil and onto the paper, so that I have the sticky ink where I want the powder to stick. So there we go. So you'll see as soon as I remove the stencil, you can see the outline of the stencil where it's going to resist. So wherever it's shiny is where the Pearlex is going to grab, or in this case, let's use the Tonic shimmer powders. So maybe we'll mix both of them. So I'm going to use a little bit of green, and I'm just being very random, because remember, you may not be able to see that at first, but the second that and then I'll use the shimmer powders. So this is just a mica powder, but it's made by Cosmic Shimmer, and it's pretty much the same thing. So I'm going to use a little purple and a little bit of green. And then maybe I'll bring in one of these bronzes. Okay, so this one is Aztec Gold. Okay, so I'm going to grab my makeup brush, and I'm going to use the large end because I pick up more with it, and I'm tapping it on there. Because if at this point, if I pounce it, anywhere that I pounce it, it's going to stick. But see, I kind of want this to be a mixture. So I'm just going to pounce it everywhere and cause it to blend in without being in one spot specifically. So I'm just pouncing, pouncing, pouncing. And if you need to add a little bit more powder, you certainly can do that. So I'm going to put in a little bit more green. Hi Marion, so glad you could join us today. Hope you're feeling better. I'd like to give a shout out to my girl Cindy. She's in the hospital, so hopefully if she's able to watch and she feels like watching today, she'll see that we're all hoping she gets well soon. So you can end up putting another layer. So you see how I just added a lot of gold there? Let's say I want to put a little bit more darker green. I can certainly go in places and just add some more green on top of whatever I've got there, and I just think that would be one beautiful background. Put a sentiment on that and call it done. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing I had to show you. I told you I wanted to show you some of these powders on white paper. So I'm going to grab a white piece, and I'm going to move this aside because this is already dry. Before I put it in the mail or do anything else to it, I will spritz and then drag it through like that, and then it'll be set. Oh, I know, I love the shimmer too, Denise. I just think that that's the easiest way to achieve such a beautiful background without using foil. I know, Susan, how about some flowers now? I was just thinking that, but I thought if I sit here and do flowers with you guys, then this video will take absolutely forever. So I thought I will show you, I will show you what the products look like when I get done, if you guys check Facebook. So you know how you get iridescence sometimes and you turn it and it looks green, and sometimes it's purple? So green, so if I turn it that way it looks green, and I turn it that way it looks purple. This is actually two different powders, one on top of another, in that same technique that we just did. So I'm going to take my stencil and I'm going to put some ink on it. And I'm going to do this real quick. So don't do as I do as I say, because this is not the right way to do it, but I wanted to get it on there quickly. All right, so now what I did was I took some purple Perfect Pearls, and I always open it over my project because inevitably these things are going to be all over. And I tapped it on, again, I'm not actually tapping it on with my brush yet. I'm just kind of tapping my brush and letting the color stick to the paper. And then I will go in and start tapping with my brush. And you can see that image start to come alive. It's just really, really sparkly. Okay, now I'm gonna bring in this dark purple Cosmic Shimmer and just tap it in, and I'm gonna tap some more color in, and this is a darker purple, and so now I have my purple color down. So this is just purples now, so you can see all of that beautiful shimmer. Now I'm going to come in with my green, and it doesn't matter whether you use the Tonic or the Perfect Pearls. We'll use Tonic because I happen to have it in my hand right now. And I'm going to just pat it in right over top of that purple. And anywhere there's any sticky ink left, that green will stick to it. We'll add this color, Perfect Pearls. And again, I'm just going to tap it on there, very random. And then I'm just going to bring that color in. And then when you pick it up and you move it from one side to another, you can see that green starting to really stand out. If you want it more green, just add in some more directly and blend it in, and then you will have more of a green tone. So I think if you put a sentiment or something on top of that, then you're good to go. Now I promised you that I would show you how makeup, how common household old makeup that you might have lying in a drawer or something like that will work as well. So I'm just going to bring this paper off and I'm going to shake it, because you can see that it is everywhere at this point, but I think that's half the fun. And I'm going to bring in a piece of black cardstock, and let me get some of that shimmer off of it. It's been sitting here. I've got it everywhere now. So again, I just use a fluffy brush. Thank you, Denise. I know, I love this technique. It's kind of one of my faves, and I have totally forgotten about it. And I'm just really, really excited that I had Annie tell me to show you guys this. So I'm just gonna write my name with the Tonic marker. That's another good thing. For those of you that can draw, I cannot very well, so I'm just playing. I can't draw very well, so I'm just going to use that marker to write my name. And then I'm going to bring in, this is just, it's called LA Colors Shimmering Loose Eyeshadow. And the reason I got it, to be completely honest with you, was because it had a little brush in it. And I thought, oh my gosh, they're making it easy for me. I don't even have to have a brush. I can just, bring it in and so I'm gonna tap it in. The thing is that you probably will get more out of it if you tap the bottom. There we go. And then I'm just gonna tap it in and keep tapping it. Then I'm gonna take my other brush, and you can see my name starting to show up. There we go. And just like that, you can use old makeup to achieve the same thing. So how about that? And that's just dollar store makeup, and this comes in a bajillion colors. So even if you don't have any Pearlex, even if you don't have any Cosmic Shimmer or Tonic shimmer powders or any of these fancy things, just go find some old makeup and you can do the same thing. So now there is one other thing that I would like to show you. Let me move this out again. And that is the ability to watercolor with these inks, with these pearl powders. So you can pick any color, and I'm going to use this blue because it's nice and vibrant, and a watercolor brush, which I happen to have one here. Do you fix it with spray, the makeup? Yes, I always fix all of them with either water or hairspray. It doesn't matter. I'm just not doing it because it's dry immediately. So I just do it right before I put it on my card, or before I do the next step, I'll fix it with the watercolor. I mean, with the hairspray or the water. Either way, it keeps it from coming off. So I'm just going to take a black piece of cardstock, And I'm going to take a little bit of this Pearlex. Let me get some out with my brush here because we don't want to waste it. So I'm just going to tap it onto my block here. You certainly could use your Tim Holtz mat. It doesn't matter. I'm just using a block because it's right here next to me. And this is a water brush with nothing but water in it. And I'm just going to squeeze a little bit out here and make a watercolor. And then you can watercolor on black. This works really well if you have an embossing folder that maybe has you know, like an image on it, or hi Barbara, how are you? So this is the watercolor application. So you can do that. You can make it, and it works just as well on white as it does on, let me grab a piece of white here so I can show you guys, as it does on black. Some colors will show up better on the white than they do on the black, and they will show up differently on the white than they do on the black. But wouldn't that be beautiful? Watercolor, and it's shimmery. Isn't that neat? So that's yet another way that you can use these, and certainly with the Tonic shimmer powders, you know, these usually have a couple of other colors in them, so once you spritz it, you'll get like a burst of color, and that's kind of their claim to fame with their with theirs. So I'll spritz it real quick so you can see. So that's the Tonic shimmer powder, so that has like multiple colors in it. So either way, you know, you could paint it on, or you know, spritz it on, whichever way you like. And I think, let me see, I got one more sample to show you guys. This was just some craft paper, and I used a stamp and went around the edge of this with a stamp, and then I put that copper over top of it, and it just really looks super on all kinds of cardstocks, all kinds of you know, mediums. And again, you can use any type of pearl powder that you like, as long as it's a mica powder, and you can set it with hairspray or just regular water. And you can use inks, you can use clear mark, you can use any kind of stuff, you can use stencils. By no means is this an extensive list of all of this stuff, but it I hope it helps you to start going into your craft room and dragging out some stuff that you have and that maybe you haven't used in a long time. Oh, you can paint with gesso. And the shimmer powders are really nice too. Wow, I did not know that. So Diane, thank you very much. I learned something from you guys today. I've never thought about using gesso. I know that I have in the past mixed this with the Tonic mousse and gotten a different color. I use the mother of pearl, and then I just mix it in, and I get a paste that I can use with my beautiful shimmer colors. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video today. I hope, so the key word is use it. Absolutely, Tilda. That's what I'm saying. Go in your craft room, dig out some of these things that you have not used in a while, and get to making something. That's the important thing. So Diane, thank you very much. You will have a special card coming your way because it's not often I learn something new. So thank you so much. I hope you guys all have a beautiful day. I want to see some of your creations. Please feel free to post them on BoQ Creations. I'd love to see what you're doing. And I hope you all have a great evening. Talk to you guys next week. Have a great week. Bye.